Hey friends, welcome back to OG Universe. Thank you so much for stopping by. We got an interesting one here on the review table today. We're taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends Spider-Man 77. Now, this is a Walmart exclusive here in Canada, and I believe so in the US as well. So, man, hopefully you get your pre-orders in because this thing is sold out currently on the Walmart website here in Canada. But he was up for pre-order for a few months, so hopefully he was in and out of pre-order status of sold out of stock, all that stuff. And he was back in stock literally a couple days before his release date, which was June 1st, and I was able to snag one. Now, there is a couple other exclusives that Walmart did promote as well from Hasbro. They had a Spirit of Vengeance from the Gamerverse Spider-Man 2 video game, but it just didn't do it for me. I wasn't very interested in that. And there was a crystal ball from the JoJo Classified series, which I was kind of interested in and did pre-order, but my pre-order got canceled. And you could see during the listing, it had over 800 sold. It's like, wow, that is pretty damn popular. I think this one had maybe 200 or 300 sold. So this one was a little easier to get, but that crystal ball hopefully comes back into stock and I'm able to get that one. Or I might have to go to the secondary market and or pray and hope that Amazon or GameStop picks it up. But we'll see. But today we are focusing on this 77 Spider-Man. So this is based on a CBS, yes, CBS movie and television series back in the 70s, where we saw this amazing Spider-Man for the first time on screen. Of course, it didn't have any CGI. It was all kind of editing and different camera angles and stuff like that to get some of the effects. Very similar to what we saw in the Batman 66 show. But we got a really interesting looking Spider-Man here. Let's take a little closer look at the figure in the packaging. He's got these spiderweb accessories. It's not a brand new body buck. This buck was used before in the Sentai. Well, I guess it's like that Power Ranger-esque version, the Japanese version of Spider-Man, where he had a robot and a car and all that kind of stuff. Same body buck, different colors, lighter shades was used on the original release, but we got a brand new head sculpt and some new accessories. And we also got a string. I can't wait to see what this string is like. But yeah, 1977, here you go. Nicholas Hammond portrayed Spider-Man back in the day. That's a really cool looking photo of Nicholas Hammond in his Spider-Man outfit on the back here. I remember seeing something like this, a poster, maybe a VHS or DVD or something with the actual actor kind of swinging around. I think they tried to recapture that. And as you can see there, a little bit of a write-up for the Spider-Man movie. So yeah, this is going to be really cool. I can't wait to get this guy open and check him out. And let's do that right now. So one thing I do want to comment on is the box. I really do love this box. It is nice, small, has an import vibe to it. And look at the background. We got a 1977 New York City going on there. And that's really cool. I like that backdrop. You can have it for your figure if you want. If you want to have it on display and swinging through the sky of New York City in daytime. But that's really cool. Really appreciate that. And here we got our Spider-Man out of the package, and he's still in his plastic tray, but I wanted to show it off. These webs look really cool. Now, I know these have been used before, but this is the first time I'm getting these webs, so it's pretty exciting to get some new accessory. And you do have a string. This is a string that's attached to the back. I guess in the series, I saw some clips where he kind of does have a really spindly web rope kind of net that he throws over villains, and I guess this rope kind of represents his web slinging capabilities. So it's interesting, very different from what we've seen in the Gamerverse figures. But yeah, this is a really interesting looking Spider-Man. Let's get him out of his plastic shell, and let's take a closer look at the figure. Alright, so we got our Spider-Man out of the package, and I gotta say, he has a really good feel to him. He's got some substantial weight, doesn't feel hollow, doesn't feel cheap. The joints are, of course, pinless, and they really are snug. You know, you don't have to worry about it breaking, but it has enough rigidness that it's going to hold a pose. So that's greatly appreciated. Now, one thing I do want to notice is that this is a very different looking Spider-Man. Like, you feel like this is a dude in a costume. No superhero proportions, so to speak, but the fabric has some wrinkles and folds in it, and it just looks really interesting. I like this belt, and of course, I think this is like his web shooter, his cartridges and stuff like that. Very interesting. We do have a hole in the back. This is something I want to address. Why do they have holes in the back? Like, is this a body bike that's been used before that had a backpack? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on that in the comments below. 'Cause I don't know why they have a hole in some of these figures that don't need to have any accessories that have a hole regarding it. So blah blah blah. Interesting. Head sculpt. Man, this head sculpt is fantastic. I absolutely love the design of it. The eyes, they're something unique that we haven't got before in Marvel Legends, really, with this rounded eyes. It just looks so damn good. Really appreciate the web lines are nice and clean. Sculpted web lines would have been cool, but this is a retro costume from the 70s, so I don't think we'll have those sculpted raised lines like we did on Toby's outfit. But man, he just looks great. I really like the spider on the back as well. It just has this retro feel to it. And the spider on the front looks really great, nice and clean. Again, the fabric rolls in the pants here look really good. The musculature is really solid. Just a great looking action figure. Really fun. It's got different proportions, a little narrower shoulders, but they're more realistic and human like. Very cool. Really liking that. And then I just took out one of these web effects because I just want to see what they're like. So they're a soft pliable material, so you could kind of have them maybe wrapped around the figure's face or his body or something like that. Kind of neat. I like this kind of extra attention to detail. Like, it does look like the 77 kind of web rope net that they used. So that's kind of cool. I know these have been used before in some other Spider-Man action figures, but it's the first time I'm getting it. So new accessories for me. I'm really proud of that and happy to have that. So very cool. Then we got some extra hands, and he always seemed to be in like this weird kind of gesturing, kind of crawling hands, I guess. These are different. The paint apps are fantastic on it, though. Very clean line work. We'll try those on Spider-Man and see how those look. So this is kind of how I remember seeing this Spider-Man with the hands kind of exaggerated and extended. And man, it looks really cool. I like these hands quite a bit. Yeah, and they do have the hinge, so you got the full range of articulation, everything else going on there. Very nice. And let's talk about some of the articulation this figure has. Now, we've been really spoiled with a lot of Spider-Man figures that are just ultra articulated. I think the maximum Spider-Man figure that a lot of people have has been the kind of like the benchmark. Well, why can't every Spider-Man be like this? Well, because they can't, I guess. Maybe moving forward, this is a specialized Spider-Man. We're using a body buck that really suits the proportions of Nicholas Hammond, the actor who played the Spider-Man. Kind of like a little bit broader shoulder, a little narrow, thicker body buck, and he was a bit of an older actor for the time. He looked like he was in his kind of mid-30s being Spider-Man, Peter Parker, but he still did a pretty good job for the time being. And this body buck, it suits that kind of 77 vibe. I really do appreciate that. Now, we don't have the torso butterfly kind of stuff. We don't have butterfly hinges. We don't have the extra hinge at the top here to give him extra torso articulation. Doesn't have drop down hips or anything like that, but he is solid. Gotta appreciate that. Now let's talk about some of the articulation that the Spider-Man has as well. Can't look up, not too bad. Down, some side of attitude, but nothing really going on there. One thing I found is interesting, it feels like there's ratchets in the shoulders to give him some really tension in the joints here, but it's not like a bad thing. You definitely can hold the poses and you can feel that ratchet moving. That's really good. It does have the bicep cut, double jointed elbows, articulation at the wrist with the hinge for both hands. Now the ab just goes back a little bit, not terribly, not too much forward, not too bad, so it's not bad, but for Spider-Man, I think a lot of people are going to want way more range of motion than that. It does have ball joints and a thigh cut, double jointed ratcheted knees. Yeah, that knee's a little sculpted going on there. It doesn't have a cut at the boot here, unfortunately, but he does have the ankle rocker pivot, no toe articulation. So he is a pretty cool looking Spider-Man with, moderately decent articulation. Butterfly hinges would have been appreciated, and that cut at the torso here to give him a bit more range of motion with the ball joint. That would have been great as well. But let's get him in some sort of Spider-Man-esque pose and see how he stands out. Just threw him on a little bit of a flight stand from DC Multiverse, and man, he is fun. Like, he's not super articulated, so I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed by that. But for my preference, he does have a really striking silhouette. I like the way he looks. And the hands are just such a cool gesturing set of hands that you look. I'm probably gonna keep these on, and then other than fists. I don't know if those fists really capture this essence. And the belt, yeah, the belt kind of floats up and down when you're moving around for articulation, so you can straighten that out. But man, I like this Spider-Man a lot. He looks really, really striking. Now, I have no really any attachment to the 77 versions. I've never really seen it. I saw some clips on YouTube. I'm gonna sit down and watch it because the full movie is on, and I think the series is as well. So I kind of want to see what it's like, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch it. To be honest with you, it's not gonna have any CG. It's not gonna have that dynamic Spider-Man, but he is still Spider-Man. Spider-Man's one of my favorite Marvel characters, so a lot of attachment there. But still, this figure, for what it represents from the 77 Spider-Man movie, it's pretty damn sweet and very neat and unique looking Spider-Man to have in your collection. So I want to bring out a couple other figures to just to kind of play around with and check out the size difference and see how they might look on your shelf. Definitely wanted to bring in our McFarlane DC Multiverse Christopher Reeve Superman. This is a 78 version, the classic Superman movie. I wanted to see these two guys together because there is an Alex Ross print out there. Just do a quick Google search, Superman, Spider-Man, Alex Ross. You're going to see these two classic characters back to back, and it's beautiful. And it's this Spider-Man from the 77 movie. Now, of course, they're way out of whack in scale, 6-inch scale, 7 and a bit. Heights wise, they don't fit in. But I think if you put Spidey on a flight stand or something like that, and I'm swinging through the air with Superman beside him, that could work out pretty good. But yeah, there's a major, major height difference between these two. And man, I almost wish that Marvel Legends was in this scale. Just because you have that intermixing of the DC Multiverse in Marvel Legends. But I know there's been, Marvel Legends been going on for so long, probably like 15, maybe even 20 years. And we're not going to have a swap of scale. Never going to happen unless a new manufacturer takes over from Hasbro, but I doubt if that'll ever happen too. But you never know. But it's really cool just to have these two guys together. In fact, let's try and do some sort of trick photography to see if they can kind of scale it a little bit better. Kind of have Spider-Man leaping behind him. Yeah, it's okay. It doesn't really work too well, but because they're so out of scale. But man, it's kind of fun to see these two guys together. The two classic 70s superheroes. Very first interpretation of Superman on the big screen. We had him in a TV series and all that kind of stuff, but this is the first kind of bit more of a classic modern version. Not looking at the George Reeves, but we're looking at Christopher Reeves here. So that's pretty cool, having these two guys together. We have another one of my favorites here. This is the Spider-Man 2099 from the Across the Spider-Verse movie franchise, and this is one of my favorite figures. I know he doesn't look aesthetically kind of in scale with some of the other Marvel Legends. It's a little more of an animated style to him with the majorly broad shoulders and skinny waist, tiny feet, but man, it is such a cool figure. One of my highest recommendations. Get this figure. He is awesome. But seeing these two guys together, you got the past and the present, or the future, excuse me, kind of mingling together. I think like the way these two guys would look on a shelf. Now this one, it just suits the aesthetic. Wonder Man from the Avengers. This is like, I picture this was like a 70s version of the Avengers, right? Kind of have Spider-Man in the mix, these two guys teaming up to take on some nefarious villain. I think that would be kind of cool to see that happen. Maybe we'll see that in a short, you never know. But man, I really do like this Wonder Man. I have so many Marvel Legends I've picked up in May, and I'm just kind of opening them up, kind of playing around with them. And they're kind of older, for sure. They're a few years older, but I don't know if I want to do a full review. Maybe I'll do a mega review or something, but you can let me know in the comments below what you guys want to see and who you want to see. Anyways, let's see what else we got. We got our Shorty Wolverine, one of my favorite figures, one of my first Marvel Legend figures as well. I really love this figure. And, to see these two guys together, why not? It'd be some fun times ahead for these two guys. All right, guys, so my final thoughts on this figure. It's different. It's got a kind of a niche market, I'm a Spider-Man collector. I love Spider-Man. It's been a comic book I've been collecting for years. It's probably one of the only Marvel comics I've purchased besides Daredevil. So I'm pretty partial to this character now. Getting this unique, different version, I love it. I think it's so cool to have something this different on your shelf. And it does play well. I mean, it does have some great articulation, tight articulation, ratchet joints. I appreciate that in the shoulders. But it's not for everybody. I know people are going to be like, I hate the way this Spider-Man looks, especially compared to Maximum Spider-Man or the Gamerverse stuff that's come out. It's very different. But I just wish it had a little bit more articulation. That's probably the only negative I could see. Plus, I really would have liked to have seen an unmasked Nicholas Hammond head. Maybe they couldn't get the rights to him, maybe whatever the case may be, but I think an unmasked head would have been fantastic to add. And then a mask. A mask that's separate that could fit into his hand would have been awesome. These hands are killer, by the way. I absolutely love these hands. The web effects are pretty fun. The overall aesthetic of this character, he looks great. He definitely captures the 77 look. Is it made for everybody? No, but if you're a Spider fan like me, I think you're going to want this on your shelf. Anyways, guys, good luck trying to find this figure. It's pretty much sold out on the Canadian side at Walmart. You might have to go to the aftermarket or some independent stores that hopefully have it. It's not too expensive, but I think this is a great Spider-Man, and I'm really happy to have it part of my Marvel Legends collection. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon in the next video. Take care, everyone.